My name is Jess Elmquist. I'll moderate this panel. I'm the CHRO here at Phenom. Here's why I want you to engage, though. This is the frame. What you have sitting here is we have 3 professionals from 3 different industries, and they are committed to talent. Second thing you need to know about them before they introduce themselves is that they're all part of our CAB, our Customer Advisory Board. And so they have helped push and press the Phenom platform on your behalf in many different ways. So the story they're going to tell and the questions that they're going to be answering are in that context. And so I want you to kind of frame it of these are practitioners just like you, and I'm excited to have you all here. So I think what we'll do is we'll start by doing a quick introduction, and we'll start with you, Lavonne. Let's, where are you from? What do you do? I mean, I know you're from Houston, but.
Yes, big ups Houston, Texas in the house. Let's go.
There we go, there we go.
All right. So my name's Lavonne Monroe. I am the Vice President of Talent Acquisition Onboarding at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. My acronyms are she and her. I identify as a Black American. I am light brown skin. I have like an orange blazer, some really cute boots I got on Amazon. My Phenom journey, we've implemented Phenom in May of last year, but we've been talking to Phenom for a couple years. And Phenom has really changed the game for Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. So I can't wait to tell you guys more about it, and I'll pass it over to my esteemed colleague here.
Right.
All right, so I know that there's one other person here from the state of Alabama. Is there anybody else?
It's pretty quiet.
Right,
it's pretty quiet.
Okay.
Yep.
2 of us. He's around. There he is over there. All right.
Oh, there's one.
All right, my name is Ryan King. I'm the head of talent acquisition for Regions Bank, headquartered in Birmingham, Alabama. 20,000 employee financial institution. We'll talk more about our Phenom journey, but it started in 2018, and it's been awesome.
Great. Awesome. Eric.
Cool. Jess, thank you. Lavonne, Ryan, cool to be up here alongside you today. So Eric Van Duren, Chief Talent Acquisition Officer for Secours Mercy Health, 5th largest Catholic healthcare system in the United States, multi-state, multi-country with operations in Ireland, about 60,000 employees strong. Lavonne, the shout out to Houston was incredible. Alabama,
It was okay.
funny-ish and incredible. I'll shout a couple individuals here with me this week. Team members, Alan Colone, he's our Chief People Officer. He's presenting tomorrow. It's going to be excellent. Attend if you can. And 2 of the best talent acquisition leaders that I've ever come across, Heidi Dodsworth, Lisa Finari. I just got to take this second to say thank you to them. Yeah. All 3, what they do for me, what they do for our team. Let's go.
Awesome. Well, I think that actually sums it up, though, really well as far as starting in, talking about your talent, your technology, your budget, your problems, different industries, in some cases, different problems because you have different pressures coming in. But I also love how you stated that, Eric, because it's not just about the technology, it's about the people. And we talked about that already with humans in the loop, even with AI. So, Lavonne, I want to put it to you first. When we think about HPE implementing Phenom, you had some big challenges, and we want to talk about that. But I want to start with a stat. So one of the stats that we had on the Phenom platform is that you had 950,000 visitors on your platform between the beginning of the year and today. Talk about that. That's like double the industry standard as far as traffic. Talk about that and how that happened.
Yeah, so I have to give it all out to my team. It was just a strategy. So when we implemented Phenom was a game changer for Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Just the fact that I have stats. Let's just talk about that, right? We have data. That's a big thing. But when we implemented Phenom, we purposely identified landing pages for each company with unique experiences. We purposely identified landing pages for all of our critical job positions, which will optimize our SEO and then drive the targeted talent that we needed into our CRM. So that was a pure strategy play. It is working. I didn't even know it was that good, actually. So coming on the stage, I learned about it. I was like, oh, that's amazing. Great job, team. But absolutely. And that was just career site and chatbot. So we're going to roll out a new EVP later on this year. So if we're dominating now, we're going to kick some butts at the end of the year. Sorry, I'm uber competitive.
No, I think that works. Kicking butt is a good thing. So when we think about those casual job seekers then, of those 950,000, how many of those are actually turning into people that are seeking roles and applying?
Yeah, so 26% of our hires are coming from our chatbot apply right now. Think about that. And those are interactions that we probably would have missed. We all talk about the proverbial black hole of recruiting. Our recruiters sometimes an ability to give callbacks, going back and forth over email. That chatbot feature is our ability to touch instantly, instant gratification. You can get answers now, and that has grossly impacted our hiring as well.
24/7, 7 days a week, and it automates some of those redundant tasks that your great people now can elevate and do better work. Absolutely. And I'm going to actually turn that to Ryan because your bank had a large challenge from a EVP standpoint. So talk about your journey to Phenom, where that came from, and then kind of how you decided to turn that around.
Sure. So I'm going to go back to the spring of 2018, long time ago, many worlds ago, when you think about what's happened in the last 5 years. But I attended a TA leadership conference in California, and it was one of those conferences where they asked you to do two things. Number one, bring your strategies and bring your best practices to the table so you can share with others. But the other thing they ask you to do is select from a list of vendors to have meetings with, basically to share your problems so that they can help you with those. Well, as I was going through the list, saw some pretty cool companies, but I saw this name, Phenom People. And I thought to myself, wow, that's a pretty catchy name, pretty cool company. And then I saw what you did, career site, candidate experience, EVP, those types of things. And at the time, we were starting our journey of transitioning from a very static, very stale candidate experience. We had the workings of an employee brand, but we didn't have a way to turn that into something very dynamic and energetic. And so fast forward to the summer of 2020, right in the middle of a global pandemic, we signed our first contract with Phenom. Went live with the candidate experience in February of 21. So career site, chat bot, recruiter CRM. Over the course of the next year, we worked on implementing employee experience. So went live with that in February 22. We're now on phase 3. Right now, currently, we're moving to hosted apply and two-way hiring status. So it's been an incredible partnership over the last 5 years.
I think one of the things I love about your journey too, and we'll get back to chatbot because I think we should talk about that just a little bit more, is the fact that you came in really with, as a professional, you were an immigrant into the world of technology, right? That was something new to you that we could actually use an empowered experiential platform to build something that helped you and your brand. So you had a big journey yourself professionally to kind of leap into that system, but it seems like that's gone incredibly well with you and your team. Talk about how challenging was it for you to go light on, and then now as a professional, I need to go in and do the change management inside my group?
Well, as a leader, you're faced with challenges every day, and you have all of these ideas in your mind about how to overcome those challenges. And we're talking about our team, so Scott Ewert, Melinda Littleton are here with me, and Melinda's speaking tomorrow, by the way, go see her. They challenge me every day to think outside the box and do things differently. And so when I first brought the concept of Phenom back to the group, everybody got excited, and the more excited they got, the more nervous I got, because I knew that I was going to have to be the one to sell this up the chain, you know.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, the results speak for themselves.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it. I want to talk a little bit about your recognition in the banking industry, but I want to go to Eric first. So healthcare, no pressure there at all, pretty easy sledding. It's estimated that you're going to have to put 2.6 million people to work, new people to work in healthcare between now and 2025. That is a monumental mountain to climb, and Secours Mercy Health has a part of that. So talk about that challenge and kind of your movement in and commitment to actually get onto the Phenom platform as quickly as possible and to start to build towards that lofty goal.
Absolutely. So the Phenom team, I mean, we've been friends for years, I would say, at this point, whether it's talking Phenom, challenging ideas, bouncing ideas, whatever that may be, talking life. We've actually done multiple deals together. Here at Secours Mercy Health, we're approaching our 1-year anniversary from signing. So it's been an eventful year, and I think one of the things I appreciate most is the aligned goals between the two teams dedicated to say, we may not have all the answers, but we're going to push towards a frictionless talent experience. And it's been all in, and it's been great, and it's been good progress so far, and I would say the future is bright.
Yeah.
Let's go to healthcare. So you talk about the challenges, the demand and clinical roles that will come. Healthcare was due for a monumental shift. Some of those shifts you can predict. Our population is aging, and as the population ages, we're going to have to provide more healthcare services. We're going to have to do it in different ways. Already planning for that. Already new solutions would be needed, but we have a little bit of time. Some challenges you can't predict, and we'll call out, how about a worldwide pandemic, where you just put immense strain on healthcare workforce, and it becomes almost immediate that solutions that got us here won't get us there, won't be the future. So as a team, we really dedicated solutions that can scale. How do we leverage automation, leverage intelligence, keep personalization? How can we make candidates and employees feel one of one versus one of many? So operationally, it could be a career site that learns the more that you engage with it. It could be automated workflows to different personas within our candidate base, our workforce. It could be lifting non-value-added tasks like interview scheduling. I know I've shared this term with you before, Jess. Allowing our team members to work top of license. And what I mean by that, by a recruiter, is freeing them up to do the most valuable tasks, what they're here to do. So healthcare, I'll kind of end with one other point here. When there's that much of a gap in supply and demand, candidates will have options. So as a team, we've really had to reflect and say, where do we need to go? But also, what's the lens of our candidates and our employees? What do they need, and where do they need us to go? Then it's that co-creation of experiences and processes that really, just relay the heart of who we are.
Yeah. I love that idea of heart, and it actually takes me back to the landing pages. You actually made that quick statement about landing pages, how critical it was to your EVP. Talk about landing pages when it comes to personalization, because that is part of that story, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know if people agree with this or not, but I think of our overall experience. I want an Amazon way of shopping type of experience when, our people are considering employment at HPE. So that personalization, being able to see themselves culturally represented on pages, pushing content that makes sense to them in their specific regions and what they're looking for. And then the content that we have, so the job that you're looking to do. If you were to come to HPE and speak to our technologists, they would say that we don't speak their language in HR. So, when we're talking with a cloud engineer, we have to ensure the content is in the language that they speak, and we are proposing employment in the way they want to see it. And so we've done a lot of work, and I have to give big shout outs. I see Amanda Jordan over there. So Amanda is I touched my mic. Amanda is my soldier. And then I have Rachel Duran and Michael Luisi, who are my artistes. And then I'm an artist too, unfortunately. They have to really put me in a box. I get outside the box a lot. And then Amanda has to figure out how to operationalize it. So that team over there is the main reason why we're having the success here, in partnership with Phenom's platform as well.
Yeah, and I also find that it's image, right? It's not just words, it's image, it's video, it's those types of things on that master brand. So if you had to all answer this question, and maybe I'll start with you, Ryan, is of all the functionalities, what are the ones that are really making a big impact for you, and why? Why is it the change in your team? Like, talk about why your team loves that piece.
I think for us, the biggest piece was the career site. Going into our Phenom journey, I really didn't know what to expect, and I had no idea what was going to come out of the other side. We had just gone through a centralization process in HR. We centralized all resources and activities into one central hub, created a talent acquisition function, and we have the great makeup of an awesome story. We just didn't have a vehicle to get it out into the public, the external candidate base. We had a career site. It was very static. It was blah. It had cool pictures and links to all the appropriate EEO stuff that we have to have.
Sounds awesome.
It even had, right in the middle of the page, it had this big life green apply now button. So, fast forward to what our career site does for us today. We've completely rebranded and reconstructed our career site, built landing pages. We're continuing to do that today. We have the ability to communicate with leads and candidates. We never could have done that before. You mentioned chatbot functionality. Honestly, I thought that was a pipe dream way back when. Like, why would a candidate come to our career site and engage with a chatbot for a job? What an idiot I was. Now we know that that's different. So it's been a game changer.
Yeah, great. Eric?
Yeah, sure. So out of our year journey so far, the website, the career site, has been up the longest, and definitely seen a positive impact. How we tell our story, differentiate our brands, the learning that happens as candidates engage in recommended jobs, and we're on the cusp of, probably within weeks, the CRM go live, chatbot go live, high volume hiring, interview scheduling a little bit more down the road. It's the partial leads, it's the captures, it's the how can we open the door to tell our story to more people. We can do that. Oh, I like our chances. So how can we have that opportunity, again, to arm our recruiters, to arm our team, to have those valuable conversations? Hey, I saw you on our career site. I saw you may have interest in a role. Would you like to talk about that? So we're excited for all that to come, and we're just excited to continue to build and refine and innovate. So, yeah.
Great. And then functionality for you, they're top two, top three?
Yeah. So that's going to be tough for me. So the key thing that I speak a lot about is our ability to have exploratory conversations with leads before they even know they want to come work for us. So the CRM aspect of Phenom has been a major game changer in regards to our ability to create soft talent pipelines. We are all phenomenal workforce planners. I'm sure every single organization in this room is phenomenal workforce planners, and we're typically very reactive to requisitions. But we don't want to be reactive to requisitions. We want to establish the critical positions that we need to hire. We have history, we have data. Let's go find the talent now. Let's challenge our business. Hey, we have this top person right now who's available. Talk to them now versus waiting a month later for that rec to open. So that's been a game changer for us in regards to establishing a proactive talent pipeline that's readily available, qualified, interested, available, QIA'd. I'm sure all my sourcers are familiar with those terms. That's been a big changer for our utilization within our sourcing designation. And then, of course, decreasing our TTOA, our time to offer accept, and all those wonderful recruiting SLAs that we have. It has greatly impacted us positively.
That's great. I wrote an article for Fast Company last year. They were talking about what are the big trends that are going to hit us in 2023. And one of the things that I talked about is the fact that HR problems are business problems, right? We're now seeing those matriculate right down to the bottom line, and people are seeing that connection from people to that profit in a way that we've never probably seen it before. Great news for us. And so I love this idea of being proactive. And I always talk about in HR and talent, we need to be proactive business partners with our business leaders, and I certainly feel that and know all of you and your story pretty well. So Ryan, inside of the world of banking then, talk a little bit about your EVP and what are the keys to creating that nurturing, kind of growing online talent community. And also, you just got awarded, and you and your team got awarded a really pretty cool recognition, I should say, in the banking industry. So talk a little bit about that, because one of the things that was really great for us at Phenom is Regions received the award, you celebrated, and then we literally got the celebration at Phenom. Hey, we're partners with you. Thank you so much. And that was such an honor. So you can do the reveal, but I think in that context, that was so great, because I think that is a critical part. Being a practitioner myself, We cannot do it alone. You need partnerships so you can focus in on the things that you want to focus in on, which is people, helping them find the right job at the right time, the right place. So anyway, all of that to say, give us an answer.
Okay. My turn now?
Yeah, and I'm done. Yeah,
okay,
go ahead.
All right. So, the beautiful thing about your EVP or employer brand is that we all have the genetic makeup for the perfect EVP. We did at Regions. We have awesome brand, great reputation. We're in perfect locations for our business model, financially strong, impeccable culture, solid mission values. I mean, all of the things that make up your EVP. What we didn't have was the vehicle, like I mentioned before, to get it to the marketplace. So, and that's one thing that over the course of time we worked on together with Phenom to get there. And as I mentioned before, we had a brand, we had an EVP, we didn't have a vehicle. Fast forward 5 years later, we were just recognized by the American Banker Association as having one of the top 4 employer brands in all of financial services. So we're really proud of that honor and certainly our partnership with Phenom.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and what a tip of the hat for your team, right? Because that's change management inside the org too. Because I often talk to people about the Phenom platform, and not only we know that it works, right? These are 3 power players on the platform. It's working. So if there's something that is in the way, and I often said that to my team when I implemented at Lifetime, is if the platform works and something's not working, it may be us. We might have to challenge our own systems, our own thinking, and go through some change management. Talk a little bit about that. You're pretty fresh into the implementation, and again, we talked about it in some of the training stuff. Yes, we're not perfect at that, right? But at the end of the day, I think it's the partnership that really matters. So talk a little bit about the change management with your team, because the team I know is on board, and how have you felt like that's gone?
Didn't know if I was going to go here or not, but I'm going to bust out a quote from last night when we were catching up. And changes in latitudes, changes in attitudes. So when you're going somewhere, a different direction, when you're going a different direction.
It's a good quote.
Yeah, thank you. Somewhere you have not been or haven't been in a while, attitudes must shift. And it's not that old attitudes were necessarily bad or wrong. They're probably perfect for the time being. Going new directions, innovating, it's the attitudes that need to change and embrace, and that is a path to value optimization and realization. You might have, celebrate great results last year, 2 years ago. Why change? Why do this? Why disrupt what I care about so much? Well, it's on the job of a leader to, 1, define reality, and 2, I don't know so much more in a virtual world, but help employees see above the 4 walls of a cubicle.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? How is this going to better serve candidates, better serve the mission, which we can all center around? And if you get the team on board, it's that realization and optimization that'll come much quicker than teams not engaged. You might have, all the great technologies, great setup. You're gonna stutter.
Yeah, great. So if you think about this year and the talent challenges that you have, right? Your technology, your budgets, your problems. What are the big challenges that you're facing this year that you're using the Phenom platform to tell that story?
So I think for us, in the tech space, we're just going through a complete literal roller coaster ride at this point. We're having our peaks and valleys, we're having our curves and turns, and it's been a very interesting dynamic to try to keep in front of, right? The proactiveness of what's going to happen next. But I think from a positioning perspective, look, HPE is 60,000 employees globally, about $28 billion in revenue. We have to get talent right. We have to get it right. Regardless of what's going on in the market, we have to get talent right. And our CEO, Antonio, knows that if we don't get talent right, we are not successful as an organization. So it has to start from the top and go down. And our ability to explore leads, turning into candidates, turning them into team members, turning them into then managers, career progression, performance management. That's the journey that Phenom is helping us get data behind, right? Because the more data that we have, then we can learn, we can establish programs, we can figure out when they're leaving and attriting, and then establish programs to retain them better. So that journey from a lead to a team member post 5 years of performance and success is what we are trying to capture, and Phenom's been a very great partner in trying to help us do that.
That's great, and that leads me to a thought that I had with you, Ryan. You talked about that progression with implementing new tools. Talk about that just a little bit more of what's on your roadmap, but you went through it briefly, and I think you probably piqued some interest of some of the decision makers out in the audience around what's the plan. You started with kind of the candidate experience, CRM, the chatbot, but where are you going?
Well, we made a very targeted decision early on that we couldn't throw the entire kitchen sink at not only our team, but our HRIS partners and even our HR partners. So that's why we made the decision to go with the external piece first, then move to the internal piece, now hosted apply. I think the next step for us is going to be to automate the interview process. So we complete roughly 8,000 transactions a year. Both internal and external. So you can do the math and figure out how many interviews it takes to get to that.
Yeah.
And we do all of that manually. I mentioned Scott's name earlier. Scott's got 2 coordinators on his team that handle a lot of the interview coordination. So for us, it's going to be just to take that very transactional, traditional step in the process and automate it as much as we can to create even more simplicity and efficiency.
Fantastic. So as we kind of wind down on this conversation, I think one of the reasons that I was so excited about the conversation with all of you is that it's not just the platform, it's your people. Yeah. And I think you've done just a phenomenal job of framing that. And if I think about it, our customers are innovators, right? We know that for sure. People that are choosing to be on the Phenom platform see the intelligent talent experience, not a one-off technology to solve a problem, but really a partner that's looking at the full talent journey. And I think that there is a certain customer and a certain company and a certain HR professional that actually kind of sees and wants to take that risk, because there is some risk in that, making those types of changes. So we certainly see it in your group and with your team, and then knowing you. So talk about the driving energy of how do you sustain that energy, and how do you take innovation and take the risk, right? Having to go up the chain to ROI something that you're going to make an investment in, making sure that you're a proactive talent partner with your business leaders, facing the daunting challenges of 2.6 million new jobs that need to be hired over the next few years. How do you keep the energy up, and how do you do that with your team? Because I think that there is a very direct correlation between how you approach your leadership and how you kind of jump into this tool and make it work. So maybe I'll start with you, Lavonne, and we'll go down and we'll end there.
Yeah, so for me, having a very close partnership with my people systems and automation leader here, Sadie Bell, that's the starting point. As we need to pivot and make changes, I have to have the systems alignment to be able to support the change management that we need to do. And I'm just a big believer in break everything. So if you want to work for me, you don't want to break it, HP is not the spot, because we break everything. We do our best to break it, retool it, challenge ourselves to think differently. Something we implemented 2 years ago may not work now because our environment is changing so fast. So we have to challenge ourselves around every single corner. I always talk about hitting stabilization, right? Let's hit stabilization. How are we doing around reports? What's the return on investment? Let's track all that. I'm really big on data, if you guys haven't noticed that. Let's track all that. Let's track the success. But great, now we've gotten it. Where's the industry going? How do we keep up? How do we pivot? What do we need to break next and challenge ourselves with? So having a partner that's really open to some big, crazy ideals. And Jess knows I have some really crazy ideals, and so do my counterparts here. Yeah. But I want to try it.
But they make sense. They're great.
Let's go for
Ryan.
it.
Yeah, so we have a saying within the 4 walls of Regions Talent Acquisition that you need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And so this entire Phenom journey for us was about change and is about change and will always be about change. And our team, they have to look at this as a career development opportunity. And that's the way that we've positioned it with them. If you want to continue to advance your career within the talent acquisition space, you've got to learn how to do these things. Yeah. And you've got to make that part of your daily walk. And Fortunately for us, adoption is up and is high, and I think we can trace it back to that.
Great. Eric.
The sophistication of a talent team, I'd argue, should be at the level of the most sophisticated other department within an organization. No reason why not. People, it's about the people, it's about investment, it's about workforce. So when taking that view, this kind of goes a little bit to the risk, it allows you to advocate for some bigger bets. It allows you, if you're able to identify where we're headed, why we're headed, the analytics behind how this is going to support the value we're going to return, enabling partners that have aligned goals, vision, tenacity. That's where it's at, and that's what I'd recommend to this group. Not necessarily a sales pitch, but more of just a sound belief of that's where you should be rooted.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We're going to end there. Lavonne, Ryan, Eric, thank you so much. Will you give them a round of applause?